We run our own business and we run it from home. We moved here 5 years ago, and it's a 16th century listed thatched cottage. And prior to that we lived in a brand new 3-storey property which had absolutely no maintenance issues whatsoever. But moving here we discovered that we had new challenges.
As with all old properties, it's always good to get a full survey done. So before we moved in, we had a normal full survey, etc. A good friend of ours happens to be a restoration expert, and he came and looked at the property a couple of times for us. He noted that the property did have damp, but what would you expect from a property of this age, built in 1528? And the friend was called Ian. Ian said the problem is if you move the damp, or if you try and cure the damp just by plastering over it, it'll either come back where it is in time, or if you move it, you might actually not know where it is anymore. So the best thing is kind of to live with it. The options that we looked at were tanking, were drilling and filling, and all sorts of things. And the numbers just run away with themselves. It really did get quite insane. So I started looking at some research a couple of years ago and trying to find out if there is a different solution to the problem. But I just saw an advert and thought I'll have a look and do some research. This is different. It says there's no drilling, there's not a lot of mess, there's no maintenance. So I started looking on the internet and had a look online in America as well, and found out that they were in several other countries but fairly new to the UK. I then spoke to Val, and Val very kindly came down, had a look at the problem that we had. We got it in several different areas, and said that the solution would be a mid-size unit. When we were looking at all the various options, as I said, the upheaval is part of it, but also the price. And what I did find was that the cost of tanking systems, etc., they just run into kind of tens of thousands of pounds. It was probably about a fifth of the price overall, and that included the 2 further visits to come back and just check that everything is okay. We'd had a fireplace fitted a few months before, and the guy had to drill an external fan, and it took him probably 3 hours just to drill the hole through, where the brickwork was so wet. So we kind of knew what we'd be facing. So installation done, initial tests done. We were then just kind of sitting back and watching. And Sarah was the one who really kind of noticed the most change. Sarah does a lot more hoovering than I do. and I'll let Sarah say what she found.
I call it brick dust, but it's like powdered brick that will sit on the surfaces on the exposed brick walls, and every day I would have to hoover it off. I had no more hoovering of brick dust.
That was really kind of the standout, but I mean, you could almost see the cottage disintegrating in front of your eyes, which is why I knew we had to do something about it. Every day, it's a little bit of brick, so you think, well, how much longer is it going to last? It's been here 500 years. It might well be here another 500 years. But we are here to look after the property. It is listed, and we kind of knew that we would take on certain responsibilities. Yeah, when we moved in, we did notice that there were a few areas that had the damp, and you could see the damp on the wall. They were mostly kind of behind pictures or panelling, and each job we did where we took things off of the wall, that was when we started to notice the damp. And rather than just try and hide it over, always best to try and find the cure.
Yeah, there was definitely bubbles of paint which would flake and drop off on the floor. We did have a few carefully positioned pictures to disguise some of this damage, but obviously now we can see that there's a massive improvement on that area as well.
I really don't know what else to say. I mean, I've seen the results now. We've just had the second. The guys have been back for the second time, and the readings have kind of dropped from 12% to 5%. They've dropped from 5% to 0.5%. But you can feel it as well. The house actually, to me, feels a bit warmer. I know we've had a new wood burner, but when you're trying to heat up something that's got damp in it, it obviously takes a bit longer. So I suppose over to kind of the cost of the unit. Well, there's nothing really to compare it to. There was no damage, there was no upheaval, there was no need to move out or do anything. It really was just all done in the morning. And on the 2 occasions the guys have been back, again, it's been kind of 2 or 3 hours. And the one thing that Sarah did say the other day is, you know, we are amazed at how little damage they done when they drilled the holes. They filled the holes back in, but you wouldn't even know they'd been here. They really did clean up after themselves. Nice guys. Yeah, very, 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 very pleased. Yeah, can't say more than that. I've got quite a few friends who own older properties themselves, and they've all got damp, and they've never found a solution that's, you know, sensible money, not too much aggravation to have installed. And they're all very, very interested to find out, you know, how we've progressed with the unit itself, and the results that we've seen. I've no doubt that in the future the unit itself will probably be the go-to solution for curing damp in old and ancient buildings. I would say for anyone who's got a damp problem in any property, don't be afraid of something that you might not necessarily understand. I certainly wasn't. Apprehensive, yes, but not scared of it. Give Val a call, or one of his guys, get them round. They'll talk you through their solution. We're in no way affiliated to the product or Val or anything. We're just very, very happy customers who are more than happy to put our experiences on film, and hopefully, you know, this will help in your decision for your property.